Think about a time you were seeking to buy a product or service, and maybe you went in and you were excited, you thought this was where you were going to go, where you were going to purchase that item or that service, and the sales process itself turned you off. I know I've been there. And I think back to those experiences when I'm working with organizations and leaders on their candidate experience and their recruiting and their hiring processes, because it takes just one bad moment, just one poorly executed touch point to turn someone off to your brand, to your organization, to the opportunity. And that lasts. We remember those moments. We sometimes share them on social media. We bring them up years later. It affects our intentions and our beliefs years down the road, maybe when we go back to that organization as a customer, as a candidate again, as after we've changed and grown and are in a different place. So each touch point matters. And so how can, when we're faced with so many different opportunities and ways that we can build a hiring process, that we can build a remarkable employee experience, how can we feel confident that we're making the small, realistic changes that we can do that are having the biggest impact? So I would suggest that we start to think about just the candidate experience, the candidate journey. What does that look like from the first moment they discover your opportunity with a job ad or the different areas that you're posting, all the way through accepting your offer? What are those moments like? And if you can gather any data, any metrics on what's what to make sense of that, that can help you highlight some areas, maybe even from just talking to candidates or talking to people who accepted your offer within the last year. You can see what areas could be improved, or go through the process yourself even, and all the communications and touch points that are automatically driven, or talk to the recruiters or hiring managers to get a feel for where they see the opportunities, or get them to look at it from the perspective of the candidates. Because just changing one of those moments, whether it's an automated email that goes out or adding some automation that could potentially engage candidates, providing something like we deliver realistic job previews that are situational live simulation type experiences where candidates can get a feel for what it's like to be a part of your culture and get real-time feedback. Just some changes like that, just reasonable, actionable things that you can do, can be the difference that makes a difference. So, just as with the candidate experience and the hiring process, it's the small moments that matter. It's stringing together those touch points and executing them in ways that build the intentions, the thoughts, the feelings, the trust that we need in our candidates. The same thing goes for the employee experience. And a simple takeaway that we're going to conclude on today is the idea of meaning and purpose at work. The more we can make sure that in those small moments, people see the impact of what they're doing, that they see the connection to their own values, we're going to start to build trust and conquer some of that really steep trust gap that we have right now, where about 50% of employees or more feel that they can't trust the leaders in their organizations. And we're going to start to build that connection between what people are doing on an everyday basis and that they can see that they have a meaningful impact. So some things that we can do to try to support that within the workplace are just in any way possible, allowing people to see the impact of their work. So whether that is calling out maybe some financial results or just some progress, how we're improving, how we're growing, maybe through stand-up meetings, through huddle-ups, things that happen during the regular course of the day to day, shift to shift, whatever the case might be. Just what are some ways that you could show people that what they're doing matters more than what's already happening already? Another process, and this might be new to think about, is the idea of job crafting. So job crafting is this idea that if we're free to make some changes, maybe to our job, or think about it in a way that is meaningful to us, and we help support employees through that journey and that process, that we're going to have more meaningful work. So for example, someone who is, and this I've read about a few different times, someone who's maybe cleaning and sanitation at a hospital, that they are, helping people through a difficult experience in their life. So they go about their job in a way that, they're creating these moments and this place that makes a small difference, that is the difference for the patients that they're supporting through their role at cleaning their rooms, cleaning the hospital. how people go about that job crafting process, it gets to, what my own personal values are and what the impact is that I want to have in the world. And that could mean maybe even tailoring, having that autonomy and that flexibility to be able to tailor some parts of the delivery and the execution of my job. It also requires that my organization maybe have a little of my leader, maybe have a little bit of an understanding of what I personally find meaningful so that I can engage and start to pursue those areas a little bit more. So if someone is in hospitality and maybe they, very much value expanding and building their skills and recovering difficult guest experiences and having those challenges, or dealing with a certain aspect of the business or a certain type of situation, providing those opportunities for special projects or for them to cultivate their skills in a certain area, or to just see and recognize their progress in something that's meaningful to them. So for a server, for example, pointing out that, gosh, you had a huge table there or a huge private dining event, and I heard that X happened, or we achieved so much result in terms of revenue, sales, things like that. So understanding what's personally meaningful to the person and providing opportunities for them to engage in that. So it requires a bit more flexibility, understanding of the person, and then we can even augment that even more by tying it into our culture. So if we know that a person values being able to turn someone's day around, and they work in a retail environment. They value the opportunity for someone to come in and they're not happy or they have a challenge and they're able to walk out feeling very better about themselves, better about their day. Then if that's what they value, how can we tie that also into our culture and emphasize our core values? By doing this, you're part of an organization that values some of the same things that you do. We're going to support you in growing and learning this. And so in that way, job crafting, creating meaning and purpose, helping people engage in meaning making at work, where they're thinking about, the difficult things that they have to do, how it's purposeful, how it makes a difference, of course, to the bottom line, but also to their own sense of self and to the impact that they're having on others, can be so meaningful in and of itself, and also provide a number of dividends throughout the organization for our culture, for performance, for retention, all the key things that we care about. So as we think about all the potential ways, and as I'm talking to you right now, we're approaching the end of the year and we're thinking about 2025. There's so many different paths we could go down, so many changes we could make, so many things we could invest in. Sometimes it's the small moments, whether we're trying to build meaning within our team, build that engagement, just showing people what they do that has an impact, or allowing them to craft meaning in ways that are special and important to them. And then from the candidate experience, again, creating an experience that allows them to connect with their own sense of self and feel valued and have the intentions and feelings that are going to leave them, whether they're joining your team or not, leave them with a positive vision of your organization. So those are my actionable takeaways for this little chat. And if you're reading our email, you can read more about these topics down below. And if you're seeing this, so those are my takeaways for this video, and I hope that provided some ideas and inspiration and clarity that inform how you lead and have a remarkable impact on your teams.